Hiya bakers. We're going to take a quick moment and talk about yeast, commercial yeast. We have three formulas. Two of them we add commercial yeast to, and the type of yeast we specify is instant yeast. So what's the difference? Well, if I turn to my handy dandy encyclopedia, my bread encyclopedia, I mentioned this in some other videos, but I've got my Modernist Bread Bible. This is book 3 of 5 tomes, and they weigh about 15 pounds each. Here's a nice visual of the various yeasts, commercial yeasts that you can get. What is the difference? Well, first, maybe I'll just keep this picture as a demonstration. Most of us grew up with the Fleischmann's yellow active yeast that required blooming in a little bit of liquid water. And why did it require blooming? Well, that yeast has a little coating on it, and that coating has to be dissolved in order for that yeast to be activated. So whether it's rapid rise yeast or active dry yeast, you would bloom that yeast in order to get it moving along. Instant yeast, we don't have to do that. We can throw it right into the dough. That's especially handy when we're busy. And also, that yeast is really durable, if you will. You can store it in the freezer. I'm going to show you how I store mine in just a second. This is the yeast we get, the SAF. We like it. It's very common in commercial bakeries, and you can get it through our order processing. The gold label of SAF, that's for desserts. We use that kind of yeast that is hydrophilic. It's good for sweet doughs. And so if you want to play with commercial yeast and you're making cinnamon rolls, etc., you might very much want that gold labeled yeast. All right. You can get it in a handy 1 pound pack, which is a lot of yeast. That's going to make a lot of community loaves. So how are you going to store it? You're going to open it up. You're going to put it in some kind of container, right? This is a glass container, and I store this right in my freezer. And every time I need to measure some out for a loaf of bread or 4 loaves of bread, however many community loaves are going to make, just measure it out, scale it, weigh it out, right? And then put the tub back into the freezer for another day. That's all you need to know about instant yeast. And we are going to use this in our pre-ferments, and we're going to talk about that in another video.